Hello, everybody. Welcome to Collect Investments. Today, let's discuss 529 plan, which is often used for college education. So basically, this is a plan that allow you to put money into it, and then it can grow without paying tax. Even if you buy some bond which pays high dividend, you do not need to pay tax for the dividend every year. And after the money in the 529 plan has grown to some extent, when your kids go to college, you can withdraw the money without paying any tax if the money is used for qualified education expenses. So, for example, for college tuition or for the food and housing that spent during the college time while your kid is in college. You can contribute into the 529 plan up to a limit. Each state often has a limit of around 500,000, but usually people do not contribute that much, so you don't need to worry about that. But 500,000 is accumulated max, and each year it's best to not contribute more than the free gift tax exemption limit. And for this year, 2025, it is 38,000 per year. This is because mother and father both can contribute 19,000 to the same kid. And then that means they can contribute up to 38K. And the total amount is still within that year's free gift tax exemption. But if you contributed more, it's still okay because you can file a gift tax form without paying tax. And the extra part only eat into your lifetime gift tax exemption, which is a huge number for most people. And we don't need to worry about that. But it's easier to contribute less than this limit. And if you have two kids, you want to contribute to both. For each kid, you can contribute up to 38,000 a year. And this gift tax exemption limit increases every year. So you need to check the current limit of that year before you want to contribute a large amount of money. And how much do you need to contribute? Depends on the college tuition, but you need to predict because you don't know the college tuition until your kid really got the offer, which is often many years later. I live in California, so I use UC school, the University of California school, as an example. Each year, the tuition is roughly 40K, where half is the tuition, half is the housing and the meals. And if you go to a private school or a public school outside of the state, you pay a lot more. And different schools can be very different. Some expensive ones may charge a tuition of 60K, and the total cost per year is about 80K. This is not all, and they increase. The tuition, the college cost increases every year. If you look at the last 20 years of history, the public school cost increases about 7% a year, and for private schools, the increase is about 5.5% a year. But in the last few years, the increase has slowed down. But who knows? We don't know how much or how fast it will increase in the future. If you assume they're going to increase at 6% every year, then today's UC public school 160K tuition becomes 286 tuition in 10 years. And if you invest 143K in US index, and if we assume this index doubles every 10 years, which is quite conservative by looking at the history, it may become 286K in 10 years. So those are some guidelines for you to consider how much to contribute. But before that, you should ask a question. Should you contribute to a 5129 plan at all? So the benefit of contributing to a 5129 plan is obvious. You can save tax because when you withdraw from this plan for college cost, you don't need to pay any tax, whether they are capital gain or interest or dividend tax. But the problem is you can only withdraw during those years. And if you get a bear market in those years, you still have to withdraw. That means the stock would drop a lot and you're selling the stock at a very bad time. And if you look at my other videos in my channel, you would know that I rarely sell stocks. I buy and hold basically forever. And if you don't like the volatility of stock, you buy some stable investment like treasury. This reduces your volatility risk, but the yield of treasury bond can barely beat the growth of tuition. So it grows too slow, which is another big risk. You want to invest money, let it grow. You don't want to let it stay stable. It's not a good deal when you have to use it for tuition, which grows very fast. And if you don't have 5-12-9 plan, use the method I recommended in my previous videos in this channel. You can buy and hold stock indexes such as QQQM or VTI. And then you can borrow money using short box with very low interest, and also all the interests are capital loss. So if you do that, you only pay very few dividend tax because you buy and hold, you never sell. And the dividend yield of those indexes, especially QQQM, is very low, less than 1%. So every year, the dividend tax you paid is small. And because you never sold any stock, there's no capital gain tax, which is another benefit. So my recommendation is if you predict that your stock account savings will be way more than tuition, then when your kid goes to college, which means you have been working for many years by that time, then you do not need to buy a 5-12-9 plan. You just need to borrow using the short box, which is a method I introduced in other videos of my channel. But if your savings won't be that much, and you really want to send your kid to college, you can buy some 5-12 plan early on to keep the flexibility so that you can still use 5-12 plan, hopefully save some tax. And when your kid grows older, you can gradually switch some of the index. Also depends on the age of your kid. If they're still far away from 18, you may want to invest in index. And when they get into high school, junior or senior, maybe you can start selling some of the index and move them into treasury bond so that you get some stability because you will have to use the money in the next several years. And when you buy 5-12-9 plan, if you buy QQQM and if it grows like the last 40 years, it grew about 15% a year. So if you invest 71K, it will become 287K in 10 years, which is enough for your kid to go to a UC public school if you live in California. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you.